Let's go way back. And if you can remember, who was your childhood best friend?
Mine was Elizabeth Dicus. Went to school together.
You can look at me.
That's where I first met her.
Elizabeth, what about you, Papa?
Well, childhood best friend. We didn't have many neighbors that were friends out in the country. I guess my cousin, Ralph.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
we was good friends. Played together a lot.
Played together a lot. What was your first date? You and Papa.
Oh, our first date?
Y'all's first date.
Oh, our first date, okay. Where did we go?
We went to a movie.
You went to a movie?
Movie.
Okay.
Do you remember what movie it was?
Goodness no.
Tarzan, maybe.
No.
How did you meet each other?
Through my friend Diane McKinney. He went to church with her, and we just went to school together. Had never seen him, and she wanted me to go to church with her one Sunday, and so we met. She introduced him to me because she was in his class, and so then the next time after we were introduced, she had a skating party in her Sunday school class, and she invited me to go with them, and so that's where I really started talking to him. He would skate up to me, and
Flirting with her.
yes, but he was with another girl that night skating, but anyway, he skated up to me and asked me out. So that was our
That started it. Yeah.
And how did you let that other girl down?
Wasn't nothing serious between us, cause my brother dated her sister, and we just went along with them a lot. So she was glad to get rid of me, I guess.
Do you remember your first impressions of each other? What you thought about each other when you first started talking?
Oh, she was beautiful. Looked like a little Oriental girl. She's dark, and her eyes and facial features look like an Oriental girl. Pretty.
What did you think about Papa?
Well, I knew that he played football, and I just was into football players anyway. And then when I met him, I just thought he was so good looking, and was hoping that he would ask me out. So it was immediate attraction.
Still is, huh?
Yes.
Do you remember what music you liked as a teenager when you were in high school? What kind of music you listened to?
Oh yes, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And
Chubby Checker and the Twist.
and the Twist, and Elvis Presley,
Yeah.
and we watched American Bandstand so much, and that's where they were learning all the new dances, and the stroll, and so.
Did y'all both dance?
Some, yeah, we would have parties, and
And do the twist?
and do all the dances.
Let me tell you about some of the parties that we
Yeah.
would have. I don't know where you were at these parties or not. There was a couple at home out there that really took interest in us young people. They was just us kids right around the community there, around the church. They was maybe 6 or 7 of us, about the same age, and Monty and Betty Bilbrey. They just really took care of us kids. And when somebody out there, a lot of people raise chickens in chicken houses, and when somebody would get rid of their chickens and clean the chicken house out and get it all cleaned out and everything, we'd have a chicken house party. And all of us kids would go to Monty and Betty they would cater to us, and we'd dance and have music, and we just had a good time out in the country.
I'd like to see
Chicken
that.
house parties.
Did you ever go on vacation as a child or a teenager? And if you did, where did you go?
Didn't go nowhere.
No.
The only trip we look forward to is going to Lake Winnepesaukah after the school year,
Like when
in class.
Yeah,
That's where
on
we.
the bus.
Yeah.
I didn't know like when he was around then.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
They was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yes, and we loved that,
Oh, yeah, we look forward to
because we
that.
didn't get to go any other time.
No Gatlinburg or
No.
Mm.
anywhere in the state even. If you could travel anywhere now, anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
I would like to go to Paris,
Paris.
just to see it. You know, I've heard so much about it
Yeah.
and haven't traveled a lot, so that's where I would like to go.
Well, I would like to go to Cozumel, Mexico, and Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and places like that. You know, never been
You
there.
may be going in the
So
near
I'm gonna be
future.
going in a month.
Anywhere beside those places that you've always wanted to visit.
Anywhere beside. I've always thought I'd like to go to Hawaii and go to the different islands
Yeah.
and see the Hawaii.
Yeah,
That'd
me
be
too.
cool.
That would be interesting.
Tell me about one of your happiest memories. I know that's very general, but just whatever comes to mind. A happy time or a moment that you've always remembered.
Probably the happiest was when I found out I was pregnant with Cindy, because I had been trying for 3 years and finally did. And then, you know, to finally have her here and not know what she was, girl or boy,
Mm-hmm.
a little booger. Didn't want us to know. So, but that was a very happy moment.
I bet.
For me too, and I've always said that since Cindy was born that she probably saved my life, because Vietnam War was real strong then. They was going full blast.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already had my physical, and I was 1A on the draft list, and she thought she was pregnant, and I said, you go and have a test, and if you are, bring me a note back. So she did, and I took it to the draft board in Ringgold, and they reclassified me 4F because we was gonna have a child.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept me out of the Army, and I would have been right over there in the middle of that.
You're
Because
right.
a lot of my buddies were over there.
I never thought about that, but
Yeah. So I've always said she may have saved my life.
absolutely. Probably did.
Yeah, I bet.
What's one of the most important lessons you've learned in your life so far? If you learned it the hard way or something maybe you would advise other people.
Well, I think my advice and this would be satisfied with what God has given you. Don't try to manufacture happiness. Just be yourself and make friends, and don't have to put on be something you're not. And I think that's very important, you know.
Or be as good to everybody else that you expect them to be to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the elders, because you're going to be an elder.
Be good to your elders.
Yes.
That's good advice. What was dating like when y'all were teenagers?
Oh,
What were the different things you would do, and how
Oh,
would you
well,
meet up? and all
it,
that?
it was fun, and we would, our main, place was Cleveland, Tennessee. There was several drive-in restaurants up there, and everybody would cruise these restaurants and drive around and go from one end of town to the next and drive around the restaurants till midnight, and then that's it.
You had to
They'd stop and
make
drink
your
a
own
Coke.
fun.
Yeah.
Or we would have sock hops after ball games, and that's where we did most of the dancing and drinking Coke, getting to drink some Coke, because we didn't have a lot of Coke at our house,
And you still love Coke.
and I do, yes.
If you could describe yourself as a teenager in 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Cool, calm, and collected.
After that, I would just say shy, discreet, but happy.
Good.
She's still a little shy, you know.
So you're just the same now as you were then?
Yeah.
Calm, cool, and
Yeah,
collected.
that's right. I haven't changed.
What were your parents like?
Well, my parents were, I was raised on a farm, a working farm. We worked. And my parents, they believed in work. My daddy did, especially. Mother, of course, took care of us kids and cooking in the house. But they taught us a lot. And my dad worked us real hard, but it paid off. I don't regret it. He didn't over abuse us.
Just enough.
But he taught us a good lesson on how to work and how to do things like that and behave yourself. I didn't get to participate in a lot of sports or things like that, but I did talk him into letting me play football. And he told me, I asked him, I got up enough nerve to ask him one day, and we was cleaning a fence roll off, normal work. And I asked him one day, I said, Daddy, I sure would like to play football and basketball in high school. So he just kept on going, and in a little bit he said, well, you can try one, but you can't do both. And he said, if you think you can do it and come home and do your work, then you can do it. So I did. Got to play football, not both.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mom and dad were precious, and there were 7 of us kids, so it was hard, I'm sure, for them to pay a lot of attention to each of us. But what I remember most about my daddy, he was real loving, and we would get in his lap. He would be sitting in a rocking chair at night, and a couple of us would get in his lap at the same time, because we all wanted to be rocked, and he would do all of us in turns. And of course my mom was the most precious. She paid a lot of attention to all of us, and didn't make us do a lot of chores. We had we'd have to wash dishes and rinse them and dry them and put them away. But we just all played a lot together, and they were just the best.
Loving.
Loving, in my viewpoint.
What were some of the fashions when y'all were in high school? What was in style?
For me, skirts down below the knee, you know, kind of flared, and white socks, knee socks, kind of, bobby socks we call them, and no jeans or anything. They weren't in yet. So, and black and white shoes.
What about you, Pop?
Me, it was blue jeans with one roll on the bottom turned up, white socks, sometimes the collar turned up on your shirt, flat top haircut.
I can picture it now.
Yeah.
What was the first home you ever bought?
Oh, first home we ever bought when we got married, we bought a 10 by 35 trailer. And we was thrilled to death with it, wasn't we?
It was pink and white.
Pink and white.
Yes.
So that was our starter.
Describe the moment when you proposed.
Oh.
And I want to hear your point of view and yours, if you can remember.
We were trying to think.
I don't remember. Actually. Will you marry me or something like that? I think we dated a couple of years, and I think we just decided, well, let's just get married, you know. But I didn't get down on one knee and give her a ring or anything like that. But we just used time.
He did get me a ring.
I did.
K Jewelers, and had to make payments on it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Do you
That
still have
ring-
it?
That ring back then was $365. That was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was.
Thousands.
I had to get
now,
one of the
sure.
girls that I worked with to co-sign for me. Tootsie Moses.
So it was special.
Yeah, it was a pretty ring. You
I
still got
loved
it,
it.
ain't you?
She still has it. What made you choose Mom and Shanna's names?
Oh, Cindy's was my grandmother, Grandma Stennett's name, and she was always called Cindy when her sisters or any of the family would come and to see her, because she lived with us because she was blind, and I just thought that was the prettiest name, and I would tell her if I ever had a little girl, I was going to name her Cindy. And she said, "Oh no, don't, because she won't like that name." And so I did. That was Lucinda, and call her Cindy. And
Rick.
then Shanna, I was looking for a name that started with a S, you know, and Sue was helping me decide, and she said, well, there's a little girl over here at Cohutta that's named Shanna, and she said, I think that's so pretty, and I just fell in love with it, so that's what I wanted to
It's
name her.
unusual too.
The
Yeah.
reason her grandmother
It's different.
didn't want her to name Cindy is because when she was little, the school kids would aggravate her and they'd say, tease her about her name, because there was a song says, "Get along home, Cindy, Cindy," and they would aggravate her with that song.
And
And
so
that's the reason she didn't like her
she
name.
just hated her name,
That's funny.
Yeah.
but I just thought it was so pretty.
What is one thing you want people to remember about you?
Honesty, hard work, perseverance. That's good traits.
Yes, it is.
Always have a good name. I talked to a fellow out here one day that I kinda had to get on to him about something, and, I said that, you know, your word is your bond. Used to, people would shake hands on something, and
that meant
or
something.
they would give you some, they would verbalize something to, well, that was their bond. If they said they was gonna do something, you could count on it.
Yep.
That was their bond. This guy didn't do what he said he was gonna do, and I reminded him of that. I said, don't forget, you young people don't realize this, but your word is your bond. They don't know, he probably didn't know what I was talking about. So,
It is.
yeah.
I just want to, for people to remember that I was a caring person, that I was happy and liked to make other people happy. And that I've tried to be a Christian, and I've tried to keep other people, you know, comfortable with me.
Well, I think you've both
And
accomplished
her-
all
A
of
lot of
that.
people.
Her, I'll say this, she's always been the spiritual leader of this family.
Yeah.
She's always kept us all reminded of who we are, and, you know, and especially me, I guess hadn't been for her, I don't know where I'd be, but she's been the spiritual leader, which is usually a man's role,
You're right.
but she's the strong Christian.
Yeah, she is. Do you think money can buy happiness?
No,
No.
You didn't even think about it.
no way. No way. See, when
Why
you,
not?
well, if you got plenty of money and you get everything you want, what are you gonna want for? You know, when you've been poor all like we were all of our lives, and you buy a little something that thrills you to death to get it, don't matter what it is, because we never had it before. And my theory on that is, if you ain't never had it, you don't miss it.
Right.
So everything we've always gotten was, we ain't never had a lot of money, we've had a lot of fun, we've done a lot of things, been a lot of places, I guess, but it would just thrill us to death to do that, to go somewhere, or to take the girls somewhere, or buy something, or, you know.
So you just
But-
need to
but-
have something to want
Exactly, yeah.
to be happy.
We still don't have anything.
What was your first job?
Mine was working in a dry cleaner in Cleveland right after high school, and I liked it. It was not hard, and
What did you do there?
probably just getting the clothes out of the cleaning
They run them through the iron
That.
ironing machine.
and hanging them up, and
She's been doing that ever since.
That's what I was thinking. She still does that.
that's why I love laundry so much.
What about you, Pop?
Of course, my first job all my life was on the farm. And summertime, if we were called up on a lot of our work, we would help other farmers haul hay and catch their chickens at night and things like that. But my first actual job when I got out of school was, I had 3 aunts that worked in Erlanger Hospital, and two of them wanted me to get on this new program that they had started, was inhalation therapy. It was brand new then, and so I did. I went up there and got on that training program. I was making $75 a month doing that.
Well, what was that exactly? What did you
Well, we treated people for different kind of long breathing treatments and long elements, asthma, or after surgeries, we would have to give these, they call them IPPB treatments, intermittent positive pressure treatment, or breathing treatment. And also, always did good whatever I worked at. I excelled in everything I've ever done. And heart surgery at this time, now this was back in the early 60s, open heart surgery was brand new. And the doctor that pioneered this in Chattanooga, his name was Dr. Jesse Adams. And he chose me and another boy out of our department to be on the open heart team. And so we ran a machine in open heart surgery, and he would, when we didn't do it at the same time, we would alternate. And when they would stop the heart and take it out and do surgery on it, and Dr. Adams would call me up to see what they were doing. You couldn't get in a sterile field, but he would explain things to me. I don't know why he done that. He liked me.
He saw you had potential.
Yeah, and so.
He wanted him to go on and be a doctor.
Yeah, but I couldn't do that. I was raised outside in cow manure and chicken manure outside all the time, and I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand. I worked 2.5 years there. Got my license and everything. I could have went anywhere in the United States and started start a inhalation therapy school at different hospitals. I could have went to Florida. I could have went, because people were wanting us. We were the only accredited school in the Southeast. So I could have went anywhere and got a job, but I
Just
couldn't.
wasn't for you.
Just
I couldn't handle it. I wish I could have.
What did you want to be when you grew up? When you were young and you were looking into the future, what did you want to do?
I wanted to be an airline stewardess. And
I can see you doing that.
I don't know.
but I just went to work at Hamilton National Bank in Chattanooga and
Yeah.
didn't
Life happened.
get to do that.
I don't remember what I wanted to be, because
You just
I never was
inherited
around
it.
anything. I was always on the farm and working,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what all was out there. And
You probably just figured you'd inherit that and keep doing
yeah,
what
and
your dad
Didn't
did.
think
So-
about going to college.
no, I didn't think about it. And back then, we didn't have people from colleges to come to school and say, well, now, I would have liked civil
Yes.
engineering because I liked outside and dirt work and stuff. But we didn't have people to come to schools from colleges and say, hey, we have this program here. And, we have civil engineering, we have mechanical engineering, you study that. And you have, we didn't have that. And I didn't know, all I want to do is just get out and make a little money. Or I could take my girlfriend on dates.
So if you could go back, having the knowledge you have now, if you could go back and choose any career, would that be the career you would have
That
chosen?
would be one I'd want, civil engineering. Or if I hadn't been raised in the country, on the farm, outside all the time, I would, I could have made it in medical school. But she reminds me of that.
It's crazy to think.
It is.
If you had just made a slightly different decision,
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
what would have happened?
Yeah,
Where would you be
if
now, you know?
If I'd have been a city boy, I could have went to school and been a doctor.
It's crazy. Would
But
you have wanted to be an airline?
everybody's got to
stewardess?
do different things.
Right.
Yeah, I got into hairdressing. Went to beauty college and I loved it. So I
Wouldn't change it.
wouldn't change that.
Tell me about when you learned to drive a car. If you can
Oh.
remember.
Well, I started driving my daddy's 55 Chevrolet.
Chasing me in it.
He would let all of us learn to drive, and so I really liked it. And he would let me drive to Chattanooga, to see him.
When I was working
And
at
that
the funeral
was-
home, she would come to the funeral home to court me, drive at 55 up there.
Yes,
Can you imagine
we
that?
would sit in the parlor and
Yeah.
talk, because he was driving an ambulance there, and he was there at night, and always at work in the day.
I never did get to take her on the emergency ambulance ride though.
I reckon you just drove from one time you were little, learning to drive things.
Well, yeah, my daddy bought a new 1950 Ford truck, big truck. It was an F600, which back then was a big truck. Bought it brand new. I was 7 years old. And my brother mentioned one day up there, he said, I taught you how to drive right down there in that field. He let me drive that big truck. But I started driving it around on the farm, tractors and stuff, and when I was 8 years old, I took my grandpa fishing in that big truck one day. He was crippled, and he'd walk all the way down to the lower end of the place, which is probably a half mile, and he's going, I said, Grandpa, I can take you down there in the truck if you want me to. So he agreed. And the way I had to drive that truck, I could hold on to the steering wheel, put my butt back against the seat, and I could reach the gas and foot pedals, but not sitting in the seat. So I drove him to the creek, and we fished a while up and down the creek there, and then we got in that truck and got out and hit the main road, and went around to another road to the creek, and I was at 8 years old driving a big truck.
It's hard to imagine. I'm trying to picture it.
So he didn't need much training.
Yeah.
No.
What have you always been good at?
What
You can
else?
name multiple things.
Always
Things that
been
you've
good
always
at?
been good at. Yeah.
Oh. Fixing things.
That's the
We
truth.
worked on, my brother and I, we worked on farm equipment, about all, we were building engines for people that when we was teenagers. And he's just a natural born mechanic, and we was just always doing things like that and working on stuff, welding stuff, whatever, you know. Just good at fixing. Still enjoy it.
Probably cleaning.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Cleaning house and fixing hair and just being a
General housewife.
general housekeeping,
Pulling weeds.
pulling weeds.
Yeah.
That's my pet peeve.
Raising.
Stand weeds.
What are some significant world events that you've lived through?
When John F. Kennedy was
Yeah, that's the main one,
killed,
when he was assassinated.
that was a big emotional.
Yeah. Everybody
Time.
liked him. Everybody, he was a
Period.
good president.
And that was the biggest thing that we went through.
Shocking.
Yes. Do you have anything?
Well, we came along right at the end of World War II, and things were still pretty tight then. And I don't remember a lot of things. I just remember living out in the country. We didn't have anything, a lot of things you couldn't get. My brother remembers more than me. Him and my daddy went to Cohutta one day to get a few groceries over at S.O. Wolf's store, and Daddy wanted to get 5 pounds of sugar. Sugar was hard to get. And he told Daddy, said, I don't have any sugar. Can't have any, I don't have any. Well, they stood around in there a little while, and one of S.O.'s buddies come in and wanted 5 pounds of sugar. Well, he reaches down here and gets him 5 pound bag of sugar. My daddy didn't like that. He hit that old fella and knocked it down on the floor for lying to him about not having any sugar.
Yeah.
So that was, things were hard.
Everything was rationed,
It was,
and
yeah,
you had to have stamps
yeah.
to get things. So that's a big memory.
Yeah. That's major.
Yeah.
What was the hardest thing you've ever been through?
I guess the hardest thing we've ever been through as a pair is our house burning. Burned everything we had. We didn't have
Yes.
anything left,
Yes.
money or anything. All the money I had, which was about $400, was on the counter in my wallet,
Okay.
and it went too. Didn't have anything. Well,
I
that was
can't
the
imagine.
nearest time we had nothing in our lives.
Yes.
We always had something. We didn't have much, but this was zero.
I had beauty shop equipment where I'd
Yeah,
just
yeah.
taken it out of my beauty shop
It was in the garage.
and
Two
it all
cars.
burned.
2 cars. One.
And you had a baby the next day.
And I had baby the next day. Yes.
That's like a movie.
Yeah.
Breach too.
And
No.
at Christmas.
No.
Back at Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything at once.
It was
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yes. So
What-
that was traumatic.
I can't imagine. What do you remember about your grandparents?
Oh, my grandparents? My grandparents lived right out from us, and I was out there a lot. I love my grandpa and grandma. Grandma was a little bit sassy, not bad, but grandpa, he's a great guy. And I remember sitting in his lap. He was bald, but he had one side that he grew long, and he'd let me comb it over. and he had a fiddle, and I'd talk him into playing that fiddle every once in a while, and I was just always out there with him, and fished a little bit with him when I was little. Help him push. I've got his push plow out there in the garage. He made a garden with, the kind you push. I got it, and he'd let me push that push plow, and he's crippled, you know. He wasn't bound or anything, wheelchair or anything. He could walk, but he limped, and but
What?
I would carry the. We milk cows, and Mother would make buttermilk, and I would carry them a quart of milk every day out there. They had nothing, you know. No radio, TV. Nobody had TV, but everybody took care of Grandma and Grandpa.
My grandparents, my Grandma Stinnett, Mother's mother, lived with us because she was blind. And that's all I remember is her living with us. And there we had 7 kids, and we didn't have a lot of room. But she, and we would always do things for her, take her to the table, and she had a radio in her room. We didn't even have a radio then. And we would go in there and sit and listen to different things that were on radio, and she always knew when I would come in the room. She would say, she knew that was me because I walked like a nurse. Why? I don't know how she figured that, but anyway, I think it's really funny now because both my daughters are nurses, and she would have liked that probably. But she was the most instrumental in my growing up. I just loved her. Everything she said, she was always advising us on stuff, so she was precious.
Which decade of life has been your favorite?
Probably our teenage,
Well, that would have been what, 50s?
50s.
50s and early
Early
60s, the
60s.
music, and it's just a happy time, you know. It was a happy time for everybody.
we graduated high school in 61,
Yeah,
so all of that time during high school was
yeah.
probably the best.
Mid to 50s to late or early 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have seen it myself. Do you have any regrets?
Nah, I don't think so.
Not really.
I just regret, talking about money, I just regret that I didn't have a lot of money and I could build all of my kids' houses and grandkids but that's the way of life.
Well, you've let us all live with you a time or two, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
same thing.
That's helped.
Do you, Nan? Do you have any?
No.
What's the best decision you've ever made?
Best decision. I guess I'd have to say the best decision we ever made was to get married.
Yeah.
We've had a good marriage.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Just 60 years.
That's it. No big deal. What did your childhood bedroom look like?
Oh. You tell her yours first.
Well, all the girls had to sleep in one room and the boys in another. And so it just had a big bed and probably a dresser, chest of drawers, and we would have to sleep sideways for us, two of us in a bed, and so it was very quaint.
Anything on the walls, or
Well, yeah,
what color were the walls?
Mother always had stuff on the walls, and she loved angels, and she would always have a picture of a guardian angel or kids walking across the bridge, and she decorated a pretty good bit for her meager salary, but
What
it
about
was
you, Pop?
quaint.
We had a 4-room house. Mother and Daddy had a bedroom, and us three had a bedroom, and my brother and I slept together, and my sister had a bed in there, and small room, no heat, no air conditioning. The only heat we had was a coal stove in the living room and a wood cook stove. But the bedrooms, no heat. Mother would put enough quilts on us at night.
Yeah, had a lot of
You
quilts.
couldn't turn over because of the weight. And you know, your face would get cold, and put your face under the cover a little while, and you go to smother, and you take it out, get a breath of fresh air. But our bedrooms was it's just small, and the clothes. I remember hanging my shirt on the back of the door, but all my shirts, which I didn't have many, 5 or 6 maybe, but hung them on the back of the door. Had a little closet in there, but it was all cluttered and piled up and everything. And I don't know where my sister kept her clothes, but didn't that much.
Anything on the walls?
I can't remember nothing on the walls.
What's the best gift you've ever received?
Best gift.
Probably my diamond ring.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Best gift. I don't know. I can't remember.
Had a lot of gifts.
Who is someone that you miss, or multiple people?
My mother, the most, and my sister.
Of course,
So,
parents comes in big.
Yeah.
I still dream about my parents every once in a while. My daddy, working with him and stuff. I still do.
A lot of memories.
It's been a long time ago.
It's all still up there.
It's still up there. It's in the back of my computer.
Yeah, in the hard drive.
Don't ever lose it.
No, you don't forget your parents.
Did you have any pets growing up?
Yeah. I had a pup. Clyde McKinney gave my brother a pup. It was a little rat terrier puppy. Had a curly tail, and my brother didn't care anything about it, so I guess I took him over. His name was Butch, and he followed me around, and he was good at killing rats. Rat terrier. We had chicken houses with food rooms in them, and rats galore sometime. And old Butch, he would kill rats.
We had a dog named Ginger that I remember him most because he, we had him a long time with us all growing up. I don't know what kind of a dog he was.
Last question. If you could give me any life advice, what would it be?
I would say, just stay as sweet and caring as you are about everything, about family, and keep on your goal to succeed, because you have already succeeded. But just keep those things in mind.
I'll do that.
Get that piece of paper in there off the table. I'd say just stay yourself, be yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. If you're around rich people, don't try to be a rich people. That's our problem down here at this place. There's a lot of fake people down here, and we're not, and they don't like us too well, cause don't try to put on a show. So, but just stay yourself. Always.
Your sweet self that you are.
Now, I want to read you a story here.
Okay.
Before we end.
Before we end, you said that was the last question,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna read a story about how we met.
Okay.
And the name of the title of this story is Across the Creek and Over the Hill.
He wrote it, of course.
Okay. Barefoot in overalls, a real country boy. Bright lights in big cities were not to my knowing. With watchful eyes and wandering mind, many dreams and many thoughts of the girl I'd find. Then one day a friend said to me, across the creek and over the hill, a girl you'll see. So with overalls pressed and hair in place, across the creek and over the hill I did race. I ran down the hill, and what a surprise. The black-eyed beauty that caught my eyes. As time went by, many trips I made across the creek and over the hill to see my babe. I finally found the courage and swallowed my pride and asked this beauty to be my bride. Now many years have passed and I'm married still to the black-eyed beauty from Cross Creek and over the hill.
I love you guys.
That's about as good as your mom writing that poem to him.
Yeah, a lot of this is true, because where I lived and where she lived, there was a creek down there, Carson's Creek, and then you go over a hill, and that that puts you in Whitfield County. Well, she went Dalton and Cohutta and over that way for all their business. We went to Ringo and Chattanooga for all our
Never
business.
Never
and,
knew
and
each
we
other.
never met. And so across the creek and over the hill.
Yeah,
True.
it is true. Thank
All
you.
this is true.
Thank you guys for doing this for me.
Huh?
Yes.
I love y'all.
Love you.